Hey, it is great to have you along. I'm meteorologist Andy Parker as we are tracking the ice storm that we have out there. We started this fall or winter, if you will, back in November with the snowiest November in Western New York history, at least at the airport. That was followed up by a record setting December with a blizzard that will be remembered for decades for what it did to Buffalo and some of the north towns. We had a 71-mile-an-hour wind gust, and then we had some very cold air, the coldest air we've had in 4 years, followed by some warm air in February. And here we are. After an earthquake, it is now an ice storm. I'm for lost count how many that is. Hopefully, this will be the last big thing we deal with. Great to have you along. We can see your comments. Go ahead and pop them in. Happy to answer any of the questions. What you're looking at is Doppler radar, and we've got it lit up. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of different colors on the radar. You have snow in the north towns. Then you have sleet in the north towns. And then you switch over to some freezing rain in sections of the south towns and eventually just plain old rain in portions of the southern tier. It is great to have everybody along again. If you want to ask any questions, feel free to hop in the bar. Go ahead and put a emoji in there like Marianne did, and we'll try to take all the questions that we can. We can. Oh, no problem, David. Here they come. Fast and furious. We'll move right through them. Laura, it is the first thing I did before coming down here was walk outside and look out the window. And it is a slick one, no doubt about it. And here we go with William in as well. And we're going to get to all of the comments. There's so many questions regarding this system. We'll try to knock them all out for you. First, let's go to Doppler and bring that up and show you what's going on this map and be able to kind of detail things. To the north we go. And this is where we're going to get all that icing. And right now, it's still coming down in the form of sleet and snow. Snow up by Youngstown, Newfane, Barker, Lindenville, and they've got a couple of inches on the ground. Lockport is still snow. It switches to some ice or some sleet, those little pellets that ping on your window in the Tonawandas. You get a little closer to the city of Buffalo, and you're right in that orange strip there. So Cheektowaga is also in the form of some sleet, some freezing rain. It's been back and forth, kind of shifting. You can see the pink rolling through portions of Hamburg, East Aurora, Orchard Park, all the way inland to Warsaw and Castile. And then we go to the southern tier. They've already had a section of icing, a tenth to a quarter of an inch over in portions of Wellsville and a tenth in Jamestown. They switched to rain, and now, lo and behold, they're actually drying out a little bit, but it is going to be an interesting night, to say the least, up into the north towns. What are we expecting in the north towns? Well, you're going to see a lot of imagery, and let's go bring up the one that we've got here. This was an easy one, low-hanging fruit when we take a look at the weather station. And the close-up here, this is happening to cars. This is now a pile of sleet that's collected in the rain gauge and frozen into just this massive ice. So this is sleet and freezing rain coming down at the same time, or at least a few minutes apart. And so it gets encased in ice, but you also have all those little pellets as well. This is what we're looking at as far as the amount of ice. We've already had the greatest amount of ice in the southern tier. You folks are done. It's the south towns that's going to see a decimal point, again, a tenth to 2/10 of an inch. And then the bigger numbers are going to be found in the north towns. Here's a closer look at it. That ribbon from Niagara Falls over to Lockport, Medina, Depew, Alden, Akron, Attica, right along the thruway, all the way over there. We have, what do we got? Gwen says freezing rain and ice balls. So they have some ice pellets down there. Feel free to be as descriptive as you want in these comments, because in this type of weather, it helps very much so to understand what's falling where. If you say the town you're in and what you're seeing, that's going to help a lot. And if you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in there as well. Let me switch over to back to the Doppler so everybody can kind of get a peek at what's going on there. It is going to be doing both. It's going to sleet and freezing rain in Williamsville and East Amherst. West Seneca getting it good right now. Yes, it is. This is the time where that band is riding just to the south of Buffalo. Temperatures are actually a little colder by a couple of degrees than what the computer models had. And what that's going to do is probably provide more snow to the north and allow that mix of sleet and freezing rain to go a little bit further back to the south. And that's kind of the situation that we're watching. Let's go and take a look at what we have. Is Buffalo going to get any of this? Yes, Buffalo is involved in that as well. As a matter of fact, we're starting to see some imagery come in that looks like this, and they're finding that windows and doors are now seeing that rhyming on it, and you're switching them from clear to what would almost be this opaque. So Ransomville is now getting sleet. Thank you very much, Lindsay. It is pouring sleet in Newfane. That is a very slippery surface right there. That was taken earlier. Cowlsville is now mostly sleet as well, and it looks like that's going to continue. How about Lancaster? Right on the edge of this. Let's go back to Lancaster. We'll bring that in and dive on in. So Lancaster is kind of one of these. Is it a South Towns, a North Town? I kind of call it a Midtown, but it's right in there with Elma. So let's go ahead and bring this in. And what you're going to notice is just south of Depew, you're right in the switch over there where you've got sleet and freezing rain, a little bit of both. All the things that were happening to that weather station is what you're going to see there. And so when we put this on the map and you think about where Lancaster is, you're going to get a couple tenths of an inch out of all this, and it'll be pretty ugly. Sarah, why can't you see across the street? Is it snow up there yet, or is it sleet and freezing rain? Williamsville is now over to sleet. That would make sense if we go ahead and bring Doppler back in, and that'll answer that question. So Williamsville, let's go a little further to the north in the North Towns here. Slide on in, and as a matter of fact, let's zero on in. We'll bring it right in there. Maybe too far there. There we go. Clarence Center, north of Main Street. Akron, you can see the dividing line. That is currently where it kind of switches over to snow. West Falls, let me bring you in here. We've got Janelle. She says it sounds like pop rocks outside. It absolutely does. You can hear that. North Collins is just plain old rain. So let's go down a few miles to the south, and you're going to see that there's a lot of changes over just a few miles. And there it is. You head down to North Collins, and that's exactly what's happening on the radar. There's the switch as we go from sleet and freezing rain to regular rain. Sturgeon Point is that jut out right there. And that's where it goes. What's the worst in Niagara Falls? Well, let's go back up to the North Towns and bring in Niagara Falls. You're kind of on the edge of this now. You're in a bit of a lull in the last hour in Niagara Falls, but don't be lulled into this going away, because that's going to continue. Niagara Falls is going to be one of the spots that ends up with a healthy dose here, Sean. So there you go. It is flipping crazy out there. Cleared by morning. I don't know how they're going to clear this. It's much harder. You can't just push it out of the way. East Aurora, sleet and freezing rain over there. You can see that on Doppler as we bring it back into the stream. And we'll go just to the south of where this position is right there. And you can see that the colors changed there as well. Lancaster has the heavy sleet hitting the windows. It looks like frosted glass. So yes, Lancaster is right on the edge of where it is. Freezing rain and sleet at the same time. How will Hamburg be in the morning? I think Hamburg is going to end up going the route of their friends in North Collins. So let me pull that back over here. And as a matter of fact, let's go right into the South Towns of Hamburg and show you how close it's. The rain is up to Eden, not the freezing rain, just the rain. But Hamburg right now is probably getting a little bit of everything there, depending on how close or inland of the lake you are. That's what we're seeing there. Knowlesville is sleet and sleeting rain and snow now. So it is mixing all across Western New York, freezing rain and occasional sleet there in Lakeview. That's exactly where we're kind of zeroed in.
Hey, Andy, I do have it. You got me? Yeah, I do have an ice totals map that I can show you right now.
Yeah, let's fire it up.
The National Weather Service.
Fantastic.
And, these are the ice totals we got.
Yeah, look at that. These are the ice totals that we've got, and it looks like Wellsville at 1/4 of an inch. That happened earlier today. Jamestown 1/10 of an inch, a little bit more. Dunkirk 1/10, and then a little bit in East Aurora. But these numbers are very preliminary. We're going to see a lot more coming in. Freezing rain in Derby. This is the first that I've heard from Devin, and thank you, Devin. We appreciate that the branches are now beginning to bend a little bit, and that's one of the signs of when we look at the effects of the storm on the North Towns. Small branches are going to be expected to break, and then that also lends itself to power outages. But it does look like the South Towns in some sections are kind of in there. You're probably more than 1/10 of an inch then, and that's where you're going to get those branches to break. What are we looking at there, Dave?
Sorry about that. This is the Jamestown where all the ice encased over the branches here you were just talking about in Derby. how
Yeah.
there were ice encased over the branches and, you know, on the roads of glaze there. So this is what it looks like in Jamestown earlier today.
You got it. Here we go. What is the wind going to do? Not good things. It's going to take a situation like that where you have trees encased in ice and it's going to start blowing them around. That is not going to be a good situation. That's going to lead to those branches down. Hey, John, great to have you along. He's got snow is now sleet just east of Rochester in Penfield. We will keep killing it, John. Appreciate it. If you haven't followed John Kutchko, if you don't know Western New York, he finds every nook and cranny in there and has the most beautiful pictures. So make sure you give him a follow. He's there right on the feed. Find him and link up. It's fantastic. Wind is picking up in Grand Island. We've heard this a lot over the last couple of hours that the winds are now beginning to move, and then that is going to lend itself to creating those conditions that will start bringing down the branches, which is more likely to happen in the north towns. The south towns have had a few extra hours of the accumulating freezing rain. That's going to be moving to the north a little bit later and bringing that in as well. Fredonia has some freezing rain right along the shoreline there. The Buffalo waterfront. So we haven't done downtown proper, but let's do that. And we'll go right street level here in the city of Buffalo. We'll get you out of there, Robert. And you can see that there's sleet and the freezing rain is you can see the color change ever so subtly in Lackawanna and South Buffalo. So you might be hearing anybody in North Buffalo. Are you hearing pinging on your roof and windows? And then I would imagine in Blaisdell, it's more of a freezing rain down there. What do we have here? It says, Luann, thank you very much, Luann. Appreciate that. A pretty icy glaze on our house windows. I don't know if it means it's pretty icy or it's just very pretty ice. Either way, it's on the windows of the house. How's the morning drive going to be? Isn't that the $1 million question, Miranda? If you're in the north towns, you're going to have a problem with that. If you're in the south towns and southern tier, I'll kind of explain away why we don't think it's going to be quite as bad. See how that precipitation is beginning to lift out of Jamestown, north of I-86 and over to Olean Standards? That's going to begin ending. So most of this precip will come to an end by 3 o'clock in the morning. But that train of rain that's currently coming across Lake Erie, that's hours of whatever you have outside right now is going to continue. And it looks like it may end up being snow right along the shoreline of Ontario, but I think you're going to get a few hours of that mixing up there as well. Hey, we did get a west side of Buffalo. West side of Buffalo is getting some snow mixed in there as well. Wow, so that's a little bit of everything down there. We have sleeting rain in Albion. So in Albion's got a little bit of both going on there as well. Freezing rain in Lancaster. Our town plows are great, but Walden and Broadway are awful. The roads are not going to be pleasant whatsoever. It's going to be pretty ugly out there. Again, when you start to see these numbers in the north towns, and that's going to be some sleet and freezing rain, kind of a mess. And then let me get this out of the way, Robin. I want to let everybody take a look down to the southern tier while I grab a quick drink of water. There we go. By the way, if you haven't shared this stream, please do us a favor. Give us a quick like and a quick share. That would be huge. I know people dip in and out of here. We can see all of your emojis and what you guys do, and it's that's all we ask is that you give it a quick share. It looks like Derby's in the rain, so let's go back over here in the Derby. And yes, Derby, Dunkirk, folks right along the lakeshore. So if we go to the south towns, I believe that'll pull. If it doesn't pull Derby in, you ask for it, Pam, and we'll bring you in there. So you're right in there. So look at it. Look how close that is, where you start to see some of that rain and freezing rain kind of move right in there. Wheatfield, it says near the airport, it's light freezing rain. Yes, you guys had a bit of a lull up there in the north towns, especially by Niagara Falls, just in the last hour. But this is not going to last. You're going to see an uptick in this. There it goes right there. You can see almost how you could see the map underneath Grand Island and Tonawanda. So Lockport will catch a lull here briefly, but then it's going to go. Stop there in Cheektowaga for a moment, but yeah, it was coming down. It's going to continue to do that. What a mess. You got an inch of snow in Wayne County. Rebecca, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. What do we have here? I was in Lancaster. Within 1 hour, the truck was covered in ice. We're going to see some pretty amazing pictures and videos. And what's going to happen is you're going to find people are going to roll down that window. And let me pull you out there, Lori. People are going to roll down the window and then they're going to have that ice there, and then they're going to smash it with their hand, or you're going to take a flashlight or your snow brush. But cars are going to be encased in that. We're starting to pick that up now. And when you look at these numbers and these pictures, that's what you're going to find, this type of a situation there. It looks like, oh, that's Heather's door. Look at that.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is just brand new coming in from Heather, and she was just wanted to share with us. This is her window, and the decal looks like a butterfly right there that's frozen.
Mm-hmm. Looks like NT schools, Erie County, I think, is off, but NT is going to be closed. That's hard to do. NT, if you know folks that grew up in North Tonawanda, they do not pride themselves on not closing a little bit there. Lovejoy is getting some sleet as well. What do we got? Any thunder anywhere left? Let's go back. I can tell you real quick. We pop into here and take a look at it. It doesn't look like we've got anything, but you know what? We'll let you know in about 10 seconds, because the southern tier was getting some thunder earlier, and that happened. It was kind of an interesting situation the other day. We'll throw it on there. Lightning strikes in the last hour, 0. So no thunder. It was busier earlier, but now it's kind of dying out in the thunder department. Not doing anything in Tonawanda right now. You want to know why? It's because that little bit of a lull, that gap in the action is going right there. You see it? Let me pull this over and put it right in the middle of the screen, and we're going to go in a little bit closer. Let's see if we can get that to go just a touch closer and bring that in. So Grand Island, and you can see that gap right there, if I pause it and bring it in. So you folks right here, looks like it goes maybe up to, is that 104 cutting across 31. So you've got a gap that runs from 425 over to 31. Lockport has seen a bit of a break. Rapids as well. Even Amherst, Williamsville, Kenmore, but there's more to come. This is a very large system that has hours worth of precipitation coming in. Dawn says, where are the plows? It's not the plows, it's the salters. It's going to be tricky. What a weird storm, 100%. We haven't seen like this in a while.
If you want to go to Rushford real fast, we do have a picture coming in from Carol.
Great, let's do it.
The last few minutes, and she took a picture outside her window that shows the power lines and some of the icing and icicles that are on the lines out there in front of her home.
Yep, that's hanging on the power lines. They don't look like they're bending down at this point, but man, that is, that's beginning to do what we had anticipated, which is have these effects where you start to have the potential for power outages, first from the branches that would interact with the power lines, and then the power lines themselves, if you get enough. But that you're going to have a lot more than just a quarter inch. Grand Island, we just showed you there. You're getting a little bit of a break. Sleet in Elma Center from Paula. Hey, Paula, great to have you along. Again, if anybody's just popping in right now, we can see a lot of new folks that just walked in. Smash that like button and hit the share on here. That would be awesome if you'd be able to do that for us. And we'll try to get to as many of the questions here. Recommendations, here we go. Danielle, let's bring this up and talk about it. For driving the North Towns early in the morning, I think by tomorrow morning, with the precipitation stopped, you're going to have on the majors where you have a lot of traffic and a lot of plow action. I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of problem because the temperatures aren't going to be that cold. The salt will work, and it'll carve through that. So I think they'll be doing pretty good. They said happy it's over in the North Towns for now, but it's not done yet. But it is a bit of a break here. It's coming down bad in East Buffalo, where everybody's, where are the plows? Where are the plows? They might be strategically just waiting it out and then giving it one good run. Icy glaze on the windows and the front door, Joanne. You're not the only one there. Oh, man, look at that. When does this precip end for the Kenton area? If you look at that, not for a while. That is just a train, a conveyor belt of rain. There's more towards Cleveland, and it's just going to keep on coming for the next few hours, right into the early overnight hours, and then it'll kind of fade away. What's it like in North Tonawanda? I saw a video from my friend Rob at Star 1025, Rob Lucas. He sent a video in, and he said he's got an inch of sleet and a little bit of snow. So there's some snow, but more sleet sitting on top of that. In Somerset, you've now have mixed, it says freezing rain and snow hitting our metal roof. Well, good luck sleeping in that. Barker now. Thank you very much, Barker. I appreciate this, Renee. 4 inches of freezing snow. It's a great way to describe it. So Barker is up there. They're up in the North Towns, and we'll pull them up on the map, and you can see right there, kind of at the tip of right at Niagara County towards 18. And so that's been all snow up there, apparently, and freezing snow. So it's probably a little bit of everything there. The storm for Grand Island, you're getting that right now. And as we mentioned before, you're in a little bit of a lull, and you'll see more pickup later. Elma has heavy ice on the windows. That's how you know you have freezing rain. Sleet doesn't accumulate on the windows. They canceled a lot of flights, absolutely. And it all depends on where your flight originates from, whether or not you're going to get in and out of Buffalo. South Buffalo to downtown in the morning, I don't think it's going to be so bad. I think the worst of it's going to be on your own street. So when the worst of it is if you're getting out your door tomorrow, and you haven't done your steps. So you're going to find, if it was sleet and freezing rain, it's going to have this kind of a slippery crust you're going to step on. And then you're going to get to the car. You're going to have to hack your way into the car. Beyond hacking your way into the car, some of the side streets are likely going to be pretty slick because they're not going to be able to scrape and get it all out. But once you get on the collectors, I think they will have scraped, they would have salted, and I think you're going to find that it'll be very passable once you're off of some of those secondary roads. But that's going to be the trick. 100% is doing there. Sleet in Lockport, we're kind of looking at it now, and Lockport's probably ready to flip, if you will, to go to that other one. I'm going to shoot down and grab some of the newest comments here. Joel, he's like 26 days till spring. It says plows have been out on Grand Island, only a couple inches of snow. It's not about the amount of snow. It's all about this ice and the mixed precipitation. The break in wheat field is done. The sleet and the freezing rain is back again. So let's go ahead and look at that. And I think he said NT. Look at that. Look at the timing on here. Who is this? Sean, thank you so much. I mean, it is spot on. When you look at how Doppler showed there was a little bit of a break, and then boom, there it is, right back in there. Looks like Donna says that it is still freezing rain in Cheektowaga, and look at that. It's right there in the orange. Susan says, thank you. Susan, we say thank you to you guys, and all you've got to do is give it a like. Give it a like before you guys leave the room, or when you first enter, if you're just walking in, smash that like button, throw that number up for us, and give us a share. If you could share this thing, it goes a long way. How long will this last? Winter or just this particular storm or whatever? But Peggy, I think I know what you're talking about. And you're looking for this to say how long. 3 a.m. Was the number that we were looking at before. That's what we were working with, is how far this thing goes. And you can see that it just continues to stream in. There's a lot of moisture to work with. Will there be a travel ban? I think the time of this, the fact that it's kind of in the overnight, so travel is limited anyway. I don't think they're really eager to ban anybody from traveling through the overnight hours, as the volume is very low. I think the sensible thing is people are just going to stay home tomorrow morning. Once all the precip ends and you go out and salt all this out of the way, it's a lot easier to remove ice, I think, with salt than trying to have to cart away with dump trucks all of the stuff that was there left over from the blizzard. These are the numbers, the ice totals again. If you haven't seen it through 6 a.m. Thursday, it's going to be that swath of red. Thank you, Bill. I'm going to pull you out there. But the city of Buffalo included in that. But you're going to see those numbers. It's tough. It's going to be right on the edge. As everybody has seen, it's slushy, it's sleety, it's freezing rain, it's sticking to the windows. If you're in that zone of red, anywhere in that zone of red, even into portions of Warsaw and Wyoming County. If there's any Wyoming County in here, please go ahead and give us an update on Wyoming County. I haven't heard anything. Letchworth might be a fantastic photograph. And I know that our friend John Kutchko is going to find the beauty in this ice, if not tomorrow, the next day as well. Look at this. My dogs don't even want to go out in this. How bad is it? My dogs don't want to go out in this. Here's Debbie. She's planning ahead. She grabbed that big bag of salt yesterday. Deb, you must have seen some of the stuff we put out there. That is awesome. 45 and dry in Pittsburgh, but headed home to Depew. Appreciate the updates and the info. is an inch. Oh, you got down today, Dale. So Dale drove through that. Now, if he waits it out, tomorrow, Dale, you'll be leaving Pittsburgh, and the temperatures in Pittsburgh could end up being close to 60 degrees. And then all that warm air is going to bubble up into the southern tier, and then you're going to drive from about 50 degrees to 30 degrees in the snap of a finger on that 219. So you're going to have the warmth just to the south, and then you're going to have very cool air all the way at the shoreline of Ontario. Tomorrow, it may not unfreeze. It may not thaw. If you're in northern Niagara and Orleans County, you're going to keep that very cool air coming off of Lake Ontario, and that's going to keep it problematic. So anything that is ice that remains ice on Thursday is going to stay that way on Friday because the temperatures are going to take a nosedive. Hey, there's one from Wyoming County. We can see Cowsville has sleet. Let's go take a look at Doppler and see if that pegs out. So I'll go and we'll see if we can grab them. And let me pull Wyoming County in here. This is another one. Is you always struggle. Is Wyoming County, are they, I like to consider them the Southtown cousins. They're not really the southern tier. They're not central New York. They're Wyoming County. They're their own animal out there. And you can see as you roll out the 20s, you're going to go, you've got sleet and freezing rain. And it looks like that's what it says, sleet out there in Cowsville. Barb, we're not getting that 60. If you're down there the Pennsylvania line, you may get 50s. Town of Wales is getting light rain now. Let's go take a look real quick at the Southtown view and see if that, thank you, Diane, see if the rain, look at how it's shifted. And it was kind of closer to Lake Erie Beach. Now you're starting to see this beginning to move up, maybe some of the valleys just to the left of the 219, in between 75. And it's going to find its way, this warm air is going to start to invade, and eventually it's going to overtake a lot of the sleet in some of these the deeper south towns, and then the shoreline of Lake Erie eventually as well. So it's going to take a little while, but it'll get there. It's crazy at NT. Well, so it is. At NT is crazy fun. The ice, the sleet can't be seen, but it's heard. It's invisible in the dark. It's pretty crazy how that does work. I agree with that. Paul was ready. He's like, I was ready to cut my grass, and then this happens, right? So yeah, if you don't have to go out tomorrow, Susan, probably a good day to just kind of let that one go. And you know, if you're going to think that way, you're probably going to go Friday as well. Mary Beth, we appreciate you. Everybody, we're at 271. We've got hundreds of people in the room. Everybody, just give me 1 second of your life. I'm going to take a drink of water. You all hit the like button. Let's throw this thing over 300. And as a bonus, if you could do a share, that would be unbelievable as well. Put us right over there. Jessica, your car is frozen. Or Jessina, I'm sorry. Jessina, take a picture of the car and send it to us right here on Facebook. Just go ahead and post it on the stream. That would be great. Not bad in Cheektowaga. Things are improving there a little bit. It looks like. Thank you very much, Debbie. That was awesome on both formats there. And this one says, Monica says, yay, nurse here. I'm off. Be safe out there. That's exactly what you got to do is just be sensible and play the safe card. If you look at a road, and thank you very much. If you look at a road and it looks wet, treat it as icy. 100%. Let me go back to a couple of here that we jumped over. If we didn't hit yours, feel free to pop it in there again, and we'll give it another look. Alden has ice. All right, Alden, we haven't given Alden a shout out here, a little bit of love. Let's go take a look at what we've got. And look at the color changes in the last hour, how dramatic that color change is. So you're getting a lot of shifting. And the way this works is that if you don't know why and how this all happens, that it's the amount of warm air above your head or the amount of cold air near the surface. So you've got rain trying to fall into this colder air, and as it goes into that colder air, it's not enough to cause it to be a snowflake, but it is enough to cause it to maybe turn into a hunk of sleet or just come down, and as soon as it hits anything as a raindrop, then it'll freeze to something that might already be 32. So it's a very complex weather system, but it really only happens up at around the 900 millibar level, which is about 2,000 feet, a half a mile. So if you know what a half a mile looks like straight ahead, just turn that straight up. And that's where all of this decision-making processes happening in the sky, and that's what's going to lead to this stuff right here when we think about how much of the ice is going down. Honestly, look at this. If you're in the red, you're going to see a sizable amount of icing, and that's in the form of sleet and freezing rain. You can see that this extends our friends in southern Ontario. If anybody over there is watching us in Canada and getting the stream, feel free to pop in and say hey or a, whatever you want to call it, and let us know, and what your Z is.
If we do have some video off of Furman Boulevard right now. This is from Buffalo Snow King.
There it is.
Play this for you right now, but you can see the roads just glazed over and a mix of sleet and freezing rain falling right now in the Buffalo area.
That's nice video. I appreciate that. Yeah, you can see it's coming down, but it doesn't look like it's. There's the number 2 kind of glaze. It doesn't look like snow. Like the first thing there is like, this doesn't look like snow. Here's a good question: is Dawn, and we'll dig this up. Are there any power outages? I don't think at this point I've seen anything. I think there's been more airline cancellations than power outages. But that's a great question. We'll certainly grab that for you and take a look. But we're well within. We're getting close. We had areas of the southern tier get to a 1/4 inch, and we're going to get some updates here. It's really done this now for what time are we at? We're at 9 o'clock. We started hearing the switch over in places of the south towns at 5, and then it really in earnest at 6 o'clock began accumulating in the form of some freezing rain and sleet, and then now, so we've got about 3 hours into this, and this is kind of where we're at with this. Schools close. North towns, Niagara County, and I'm not sure about Orleans, Genesee, Wyoming, but I know that Erie, a lot of them are off there. So Helen is safe in the house. So it's kind of the winter break for a lot of folks already. Oh, my flag is solid ice. You had to take it in, and it didn't even move. So it was kind of like frozen in place. We're going to see such interesting lawn items just completely frozen and encased in ice. What do we have here in Snyder? No ice on the windows yet in Snyder. Not quiet out there right now. Yes, that lull that was moving through earlier is likely catching a little bit of the Snyder area, and you'll see it right there in the last couple of frames. So yeah, a little bit of a slowdown. Any chance that it could stay mostly snow? The only chance that we've got is a little bit further north, and I mean that chance is going away. We heard from Penfield, and this is kind of an update. And you can see that I think the snow is losing the battle now. And if you watch where the rain sleet line is, it's now moving up into North Boston. So the rain to the rescue, I guess. If you ever thought that rain would be your best option in this situation, I think that's what we're looking at, is that begins to move in there. Alden is there again. Many schools are already on break 100%. Weather radar looks like an explosion at a paint factory. That it does. 100% off. It says some kids only had Monday and Tuesday off. Some had 2 days off as well. So it looks like there's a lot of different options, or maybe some more schools open than one have thought. Here's one. Tracy, thank you for that. Several are open that didn't have February break, and they're starting to close. NT closed tomorrow. And it's interesting to see if Niagara Falls will. They were supposed to make an announcement at 7 o'clock. Tracy wonders if hers is in Wyoming County. Star Point is closed. Here comes I. You know what? This is old school, where I'm sitting here doing the closings, and you say Star Point is closed. North Tonawanda is closed, and it always went alphabetical. But now everybody just gets the ping on their phone, and they know before the kids sometimes know, because they get pinged before the parents. What do we got here? NT closed in Attica, near Attica there. When will we be on the other side of this? I don't know why that was difficult to say, but it was. And after 3 a.m. in the morning, Seven Corners area near the stadium appears to be in the blue. Are we safe from the freezing rain? Who is this? We're talking to Jerry. So let's go ahead and Zoom on in. You have a question. You did exactly what this is meant for. You have a question. We're looking at the radar. There's a lot of colors on here. We're here to kind of explain it and dig right down into the seven corners area. And when you look at it, you're finding that the rain is up to Eden and into Boston. We're finding that West Falls was dancing between rain, and now you can start to see the greens infiltrating the southern sections of Hamburg and Eden. And I think that we're going to start to see that you'll switch over to more of a rain situation beyond just a freezing rain. Morning commute tomorrow is going to be, you're not going to find the steady precip. That'll be gone. It'll be cold enough that it'll still be icy in spots, but you're going to have some problems on your walkways, untreated roads that haven't been done. 6 a.m. in Niagara County is going to be slick, as I was just saying, because it does not look like it'll be going until maybe 3 o'clock in Niagara County. And then you're going to get the potential for some quote unquote lake effect with northeasterly winds. And this is what your car is going to look like. So add some time to the commute so you can deal with this. And you're going to have to do some scraping. If you don't know, if you had a snow brush and you've ignored your ice scraper, and your snow brush doesn't have that handy ice scraper on the other side, don't try a credit card. It's not going to work. Don't go out and hit it with a blunt object. You have to find something. A screwdriver is a terrible idea. You're better off doing a remote start and letting the defroster do the work, but don't go and take some sort of sharp, jagged tool and dig at your, you'll hate yourself if you did that as well. Car covered in ice out in Depew, Cheektowaga. Now, I don't know where this is. Dave, do you have a location on this?
I do not know, but it was from Laura that sent it in.
Yeah, it's a great picture. Anyone here if Buff State closed? She's crowdsourcing the cancellations. I do not know if they did. Here we go. Power outages in Wellsville, Machias, Franklinville. Dave, did you take a look at some of those power outages down there to see if next time you get a chance, maybe just take a peek at what they have out? That would make sense that Wellsville is at the top of the list because they had 1/4 of an inch of ice and then switched over to rain, and now their temperatures are up. So the threat for them is less and less. But thank you very much, Richard. I appreciate that you passed that along. So if they're experiencing those in the same situation that we're going to see a lot of areas in the North Towns experience as well, it does not bode well. It's one of the things that we were concerned about when we got into this forecast, is that once you get past 1/4 of an inch with wind, which is what is going to happen, we're going to get these gusty winds. That's going to set the stage for some of these branches to fall and then bring down some power lines. Niagara Falls is closed. There we go. Did the city of Buffalo get freezing rain, ice, sleet? It got everything. How much is on the ground so far? We've heard 4 inches up in Barker. We've got a solid inch or 2 in Tonawanda, and those are the areas that had received the most in the form of some snow. And then you start to get into the icing, and right now I think the pack leaders in the icing is probably out in Lancaster and in some of those communities where they've had the freezing rain the longest. I think we're looking at power outages here, and we're zeroed in. I saw Farmer Station in Franklinville, so Machias. So that was one of the ones that was on there.
Customers.
So, 100.
Yeah, 100 customers.
It's not going to be something where, a whole swath of Western New York is taking out, but you are going to have some numerous small-scale outages. And
then you got some more outages towards the town of Wellsville. Not as many, but around 34 customers impacted.
Windows are covered in ice. Opening doors in the morning should be fun. The screen doors, they're starting to freeze up. We just talked about power. It's very timely, Patricia. Thank you very much. Let's say we've got Greg saying there's a fair amount of snow. Difficult to tell how much ice is there in Pembroke. A car just went down the street at normal speed, no problem. Hey, if they've salted the streets, you're going to be okay. As long as the streets have been maintained, they'll be okay. Attica, haven't seen Attica yet, but hopefully they'll close. Gotcha. So everybody's kind of looking to see what's going to happen. We just got to do this. The best advice It's an old ad, but walk like a penguin. And honestly, you just got to take those awkward steps, and that's the easiest thing you can do. There it is. What do we have? Cheektowaga closed tomorrow. I guess it's a question mark, not a statement there. Will my ice grippers make a difference? You have to deliver mail tomorrow. Yes, 100%. If you have ice grippers, throw those babies on, and that's going to be great. It'll work out. It'll work out just fine for you. That's what I would do. If you can share the stream, I'll make one more pitch here real quick because again, we're not asking for anything. Just hit that share button. If you follow our page, that's great. Thank you very much. We love all the likes. Everybody kind of knows that. But if you're new to this page, you haven't seen it in a while, or you dipped in during the blizzard and then forgot about it, go ahead and give us a follow and then a share or a like as well. That would be awesome. That's really what we look for. We try to put out content that you're not going to get anywhere else, in the detail and the maps and how we can drill down and give the information the way you want it and when you want it. You can have, ask as many questions as you like. You're not limited to one. Let's see what we have here. Still sleet coming down in East Amherst. He sent his photo of his car through Messenger, Facebook DM. All right. That's cool. We'll dig it up and we'll check it out. I think he said, oh, there it is. I don't know if that's Dave. If that's Dave, if that's your car.
It is.
Whew. Yeah, that's you can see that you've got the sleet that kind of got stuck there on the edge of the window, and then the rest of it is all the ice on there. Man, everybody's warned people about falling. I'm telling you, it's the easiest and the dumbest way to hurt yourself is to just start going a little too quick and not look down and deal with that first step out the door. I've done it. I've personally done it. You're grabbing the trash. It's garbage day for my neighborhood. Taking out the trash, it'd be a dumb way to do yourself in, but just be very careful when you have the ground like this, because man, it is like an ice rink. Abby says she's got rain, snow, and sleet all at once. The trifecta. Abby, where are you at? I'd love to know where you're getting the trifecta. Seems like NT is going to get ice for some time. Yeah, let's bring Doppler back and show you what's going on up there in North Tonawanda, because that's kind of the action. We're not talking about Cherry Creek and Jamestown. You guys had your action down there. It's lifting to the north, and this band is you can actually see it all the way over portions of Canada, and it is beginning to lift, but there's more moisture coming in. You can see right there by Ashtabula, another slug is going to follow that same path. Dunkirk, Hamburg, Buffalo, Akron, Batavia. You're in for several more hours of this. It's a prolonged event, not just an hour or two and done. Jessica, by tomorrow morning, Clarence will not have all of this freezing rain. You're just going to have to deal with whatever is left behind. When are the winds coming to Lancaster? They will be arriving as we head through the overnight. They'll be the gustiest along the shoreline of Lake Ontario, but it looks like the bigger gust will be as the cold front comes through on Thursday. But I think that Lancaster is going to end up warming up enough that you'll probably be able to melt some of that off. Areas that don't warm up on Thursday, which would be, I would think, anywhere north of Erie County and in sections of Orleans County, those are going to be the spots that might hold between 32 and 35 degrees for the majority of the day. And that's not doing it. Along with that breeze and the potential for some light mist, you may end up adding to what you have, or at least at the very least, not getting rid of it. And you're going to be stuck with all of that ice as we get into what is going to be a very cold Friday and probably right on into Saturday as well. We are going to get some lake effect snow as well, but not a lot. And that's going to target areas south of Buffalo. Oh, I love this one. Let's go bring it in. It's the door or the window, and it looks like it's frosted, but that's Mother Nature doing that one there. That's that freezing rain, how it just stuck to the outside of that door.
Yeah, this is from Gary in Hamburg.
Oh, that's great. That's a good picture. If anybody has photos, feel free to share them, send them in. Pop them on Facebook there. I just got another image here from Rob. From Rob Lucas, our the morning man over on My Star 102.5, and was on talking with him this morning about this. And he said he went out to scrape his car. It's an inch of snow with a hard pressed sleet crust frozen on top. Sounds like I'm ordering something from Dairy Queen. I'll take an inch of snow with a hard pressed sleet frozen crust on top. You don't sink in. He's saying that you can actually walk on it, like he says you're walking on a moonscape. He spent 5 minutes scraping. He's got 20% of the windshield clear. Oh my gosh. I don't have the ability to show this off yet, but we'll see if we can work this in because it came in via text. Wow. That is he's giving you the heads up. I think he even said how long he spent. 5 minutes of scraping, and you got 20% of the windshield. So you do the math on that. If you've got to go 520s, you're going to spend about 15 minutes scraping out there on the windshield. Not fun at all. The drive in the morning, OP to Niagara Falls. You're going to be fine in OP. I think as you go towards Niagara Falls, you'll be driving through whatever the leftovers there. Icy Paws better than Muddy Paws. I think that's a win every time. You're still going to have Muddy Paws tomorrow in some spots that got the rain, but then everybody freezes up and it goes over Friday and the weekend. All right, Williamsville. Back to Williamsville. I talked with a guy, one of our plow guys out there in Williamsville, and he was all on alert. They were ready to do a scrape and an assault, and they did a pre-salt out there, and it looks like Williamsville, yeah, you've changed colors. So you can see where that orange was locked in over Buffalo, and then now it's becoming a bit more pink. The switch between orange and pink is indicative of the change between sleet and now going over to freezing rain. And that's what it is. By noon tomorrow, John, I think we're going to see temperatures that are warming above 32 into the 40s for portions of the southern tier, and in the upper 30s as you get closer to Buffalo, and then a little bit less. Rob is in Tonawanda, by the way. And let me see if I want to see that his picture was good. He's the first person that went out there and said, hey, I'm going to crack my window. Well, not crack my window, but take a stab at getting this done and trying to prep for the morning so he doesn't have to deal with it the day of. So let me see if I can fire this off. And Dave, I'm going to send this your way, and then maybe you could turn this around and we could take a look at his windshield. And the fact that he said you could actually walk on the surface out there. So you're going to look at your front yard, and then you're going to say, well, geez, that looks pretty crusty. And then you can actually just take a walk on top of that crust, and you're going to see nothing but some footprints only on the very top of the snow. So you're not going to sink down into what's below you, which isn't a whole lot. I mean, make no mistake, there's no 30 inches of snow underneath, but it's enough that it's going to feel pretty eerie, he said. Dave Cash, you made it in. All right, it's way past his bedtime, probably yours as well. Dave, I want a weather report from you there. Tell me what's going on over on Sunshine up there, and let me know what it's like in the Amherst area. Any indication? I want to get to Kelly here real quick. Any indication will air travel be delayed into Buffalo tomorrow late evening? No, not from anything that's happening now. This is what's currently causing the problems. By tomorrow morning, they'll be able to clear the runways. That'll be done. And then I think they're going to end up being able to get stuff in. As long as the other airports can get the planes out in the air, there wouldn't be anything that would prevent them from coming here. Olean to Salamanca tomorrow, looking good as well. You're going to be way above freezing, so no frozen stuff down there whatsoever. What do we got here? This is interesting. He says, I've got a space heater running in my van, so I don't have to break into it in the morning for work. Interesting. I bet it's going to be very effective. I don't know if I could sleep knowing I've got a space heater running in my vehicle overnight. But hey, you know what? It's gonna work. If it doesn't burn the car up, it'll work. All right, here's his report. It's a stuffed crust out there in Amherst. That is crazy. What do we got here? Here we go. It says, use a plastic shopping bag on a side view mirror. There we go. That's true. That is a great, Richard. Thank you very much for doing that one. That's an oldie but a goodie. So what Richard is saying that you can go out there and you can actually just take one of those old plastic bags and then just wrap your, you can put it over your side view mirror, and you could also wrap your wipers in it. And then obviously you take that off before you go, but now your wipers aren't frozen. The bag might be, but your wipers aren't frozen to it. And with this kind of an amount of snow, there's his window. There's Rob's window. And with that kind of a situation, let me pull you off there, Rich. So that was a 5-minute scrape job right there. So you can measure up against it. It's the type of ice, and I've had to do this before. The way it's adhered to the windshield, you're not going to be able to just like get big chunks of it off. You are going to fight for every inch on that windshield, and you cannot come at it. I got to show myself here. You can't come at it perpendicular. You've got to come at it at a low horizontal and just grind away at all of those little bits of sleet and then the freezing rain, and it's just melded into that thing, and you're going to have to fight pretty hard. That was a great explanation. This is Neil Armstrong, as he's got the first steps. That's one small step for a radio guy, one giant leap. and you can't, he's actually walking on top of the crust, and the rest of that is all the sleet that's on there as well. So that's kind of what you're up against. This is NT, by the way. I want to thank him for sending that in. That's awesome. Now this is mean, but it's funny at the same time. Dave says Rob didn't do that. He made Linda go out and scrape the windows for him, and he's taking credit. Sherry, thank you so much. Cheryl, thank you so much. Anybody who can do a quick share or a like on the page, that's all we're asking for today. Answering your questions, kind of having a little fun with this. We talked about it. We did if you were with us in November, we did the snowiest November in Buffalo history. And then came December, and we did the blizzard, and we did a 71-mile-an-hour wind gust out at the airport. And then came, I believe we had one of the coldest days that we've had in 4 years. And then we had an earthquake, and now here we are with a bit of an ice storm. Not an epic ice storm, but a significant one that if we didn't get on and start talking about it, this is one that certainly changed people's minds about what they wanted to do today, and they had a lot of concerns about tomorrow. So we're happy to give that information out and help people out. Use rubbing alcohol in a water spray bottle. That's a new one. I did not know it will melt it'll melt your windows only. We'll take your word for it on that one. That's a new one, Paul. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Here's all of the more scraping tips than you'd ever want to know. Use the corner of the scraper to score sections once an area is cleared. That is it. Yeah, that's you kind of start digging at it. Throw some vinegar on there. I feel like we're one step away from trading recipes today, but these are weather recipes. Look at what happened here. Just in the time that we've been on, which is coming up in about an hour or so. Watch what happens here. So Springville is in there, now beginning to pull out. So the back edge of this, the lower edge of this precip beginning to lift to the north. So Wyoming County over here, you're going to do pretty well at the bottom end of the county. So you've got Pike, Nunde, Castile, Arcade. You're kind of pulling out of it right now. Springville doing the same thing. And we're starting to see that begin to lift up to the north. So I think we're going to escape without a lot of problems. I still would love to know what's going on up here. Are the branches in Lockport, Medina, Akron, and Batavia, are they encased, or are we just a kind of a more sleet and snow up there? What do we have here? Robin says, locust, raining cats and dogs. Nothing would surprise me anymore. Thank you, Robin. We appreciate that. And Arlene, a shameless plug. Thank you. Appreciate it. Seriously, this is something that just needs to happen. Happy to do it for everybody. and the fact that everybody's on here saying thank you is humbling and very nice at the same time. David and I are extremely appreciative of all the kind words. That's why we, if you come on our site, you're going to get your questions answered, and we'll reply to all of your stuff. Look at this. So I believe this was, who was just asking me about the colors? Hey, Barb, sure, we'll do this for you. The blue on there, that's all snow over Lake Ontario. So we're kind of saying goodbye to the snow. Then you've got the sleet. That's right in here, that orange color. And then you're down here into the pink, and then that's the freezing rain that transitions into regular rain. And while I would love to say that it is as exact as a one street away, it's in the ballpark. If you're in Hamburg, the southern end of Hamburg, you're likely to be switching over to more of a regular rain in the near term here. Thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate it. Lulu, thank you very much. That is awesome. Power lines have a lot of ice. So says Abby. Look at this. Here we go. Barker in the house. North of Lockport, mostly snow and very windy. So we're back up here again. Still mostly snow. And at Barker, the change is coming. But the question is, when the change gets there, how much more precip is there? And there's a low pressure that's going to be coming through, and that will continue the precip. So this is going to go, I mean, I'm not going to stay with you until 3 in the morning, but take my word for it that this area up here hasn't seen the worst of it yet. I think they've had some, but the potential to get the freezing rain up there, if this pink area that's been plaguing Buffalo and some of the South towns, when this decides to exit and jump up to this area here, that is when we're going to start to see these numbers. And we could get into this. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Appreciate that. We'll get into these numbers for the North towns. And the combo of the wind that does not exist in the South towns could be something that ends up being a real mess. Ice in Lackawanna put ice melt on the sidewalk and driveway earlier, and it didn't help much. No, it came down too steady and too much. It overwhelmed your ice melt, and it probably swamped you. But either way, it was a good preventative. It'll make it easier. It'll make it easier later. Can we give you the number to text? Yes. If you want to text, it'll come by at the bottom of the screen. It's 716-503-ANDY. 716-503-2639. There it is. All you have to do is text the word weather to 503-2639 anytime, and we'll answer those questions as well. Youngstown has been mostly snow so far, but hearing the freezing rain hitting the windows on the wrong side of the house. And the reason they're saying wrong side of the house is because the snow and the freezing rain is coming out of the northeast. The wind, anyway, is coming northeast. The precip is coming from elsewhere, but the winds are coming right off the lake this direction northeasterly. So you've got precip at the upper levels moving north, the winds moving northeasterly, and that's what they're colliding. Does the National Weather Service, what was this question here? It just jumped out of. Does the National Weather Service usually forecast higher precip numbers? No. What they're going to do is take a lot of different accounts in before they make that number. That number isn't just a dartboard over at the Weather Service, but they're going to look at a lot of different factors, as we did as well. And our whole community of weather forecasters ends up discussing a lot of this. And you want to look at the parameters that you feel most confident in, and then that's where you put your money on your high confidence. And some people have a little more faith in different models than others, but in the end, you have to decide what you're going to do. And the Weather Service does the exact same thing. They look at all their stuff, and then they're coming out with something. They're trying to give you the most solid information, the most correct, because we all know that not every forecast is 100% accurate, but you're trying to give people the best representation of what's coming in. Alden commute downtown tomorrow doesn't appear to be too bad. Worth it. It depends on what time. I think coming from Alden. So let's go ahead back to the North Towns real quick and dive on in here. If you're coming from Alden tomorrow, there's Albion, Akron, Alden. There it is, right in here. Let me bring you up. You're going to switch over and shouldn't be a problem as long as if you're coming in on 20, they'll have that salted and scraped. And I think you're going to be okay. A great ice storm of 1998 in the North Country. 5 days of this in a row. Wow. That is, yeah, this doesn't even hold a candle to that. Glad he didn't lose power because freezing rain around 2 in Iowa. Oh, this is the door again. This is what a lot of people's windows and doors are looking at.
No, this is brand new. This is in from Mary.
Yeah. Well, it looks a lot like Heather's, and it looks a lot like the other one. So you're not alone when you look out the window like that. Here's some good news from Carol. She says the plows and they're running in Salton and Hamburg for good reason, because when you look at this, Hamburg is kind of like coming on, ready to kind of have it lighten up a little bit, I would think. Maybe switch to rain, but go ahead and do it. When will the freezing rain stop in Cheektowaga? Not for a bit. You can see that the edge of this here, if I widen it out, it's beginning to pull to the north, but there's more coming through. So there's more moisture to be had with this. 3 a.m. is kind of the number for this whole thing to end. The last to see it leave is going to be north of the Thruway. South of near Pennsylvania line, you have the least chance of picking up anything else in the form of frozen at this point. So that is it. What do we have here? A major Rochester ice storm was third week of March. Yeah, I was up in Rochester when they had one in the early 90s there, and it was bad. Christy says, what is the chance of schools being canceled? Pretty darn good. There's a long list of them already. And that's kind of, I think you just watch for it and see what happens. Let's look at this. It seems like the ice line won't go past the 190. So let's look at, we'll get a little closer here. Now, what he's referring to, that's 20. This is the 90, and the ice, it's there. It's that's snow up here, but you're talking about the freezing rain. It's right up to 20. And so you've got freezing rain and sleet. Anybody in Batavia? We haven't called Batavia's name. I know somebody out there is watching in Batavia, and if throw us a like, throw us a little love out in Batavia. Give us a nice Genesee County update there as well. Winds are whipping in the Tonawanda. So yeah, those northeasterly winds are coming through, doing that 100%. Jamestown in the morning. Let's go back down to Jamestown. You're done with the frozen precip. You are solidly in the warm sector, and that's where you're going to stay as you go through the overnight and into the morning hours there. So it shouldn't be an issue for you there. Haven't seen any plows in Cheektowaga. The side roads are a mess. This is one where they may just say, hey, look, we're not going to go out and try to attack a full scrape just to have to go do it again later. Sometimes they're just going to sit on this. They know where the finish line is. They're watching the radar along with everybody else, and they'll go out and give it one good scrape once this thing comes to an end, and probably do it like that. Nothing like the ice storm on March 2nd in 1976. Our former school, Trinity Lutheran West Seneca, was closed for a week. That is a huge storm. That ice storm, it was far-reaching. It's one of the big ones. That the 70s produced some incredible snow and weather stories for Western New York. The forgotten one, because it always gets buried behind the mentions of the snow of 77. But that ice was a big one in 76. So that one's there, but it's lesser remembered than the 77 storm. Yeah, that was a bad one. Everybody's chiming in on that. Betsy and Kevin says, hey, the dog doesn't even want to go outside tonight. So not happening. Dog is like, you've got to be kidding me. We're just going to wait for this thing to be to bang out. It says Youngstown is mostly snow so far, but he's hearing that. And then what was the other one I wanted to get back to? Ice in Lackawanna. There we go. We talked about that. Anyone in Genesee County? I thought I saw a Genesee County come in, but then it kind of disappeared on me. If you're in Genesee County, go ahead and fire it up again. The reason I bring it up is because this is what we have. Let me get rid of that one there. And then this is what we have as far as the ice totals. even though we've probably gotten somewhere between 1/10 and 2/10 of an inch in areas south of the city, I think it's going to be the North Towns' turn, where they're going to start to acquire some of that freezing rain. That pink is working its way north, and as it does, there's more moisture coming in, and I think that that's going to be there for another bunch of hours. So you'll actually end up with more hours of freezing rain to the north than you will to the south, but it's not going to be good. All right, Dave. Dave's doing his job. Crash tells me there's a multi-vehicle injury accident blocking the left and center lane on the 90 just past the William off-ramp. Oh, man. You hate to hear that, but that's tough. So it won't be the last one. March is going to be smooth sailing. Oh, she's throwing the question. So is March going to be smooth sailing? Please and thank you. Well, you're as polite as you are. March is trending cooler right now. Looking at a lot of things, I can tell you that we are going to have another storm after we get cold on Friday and Saturday, a bit of a warm up. Then we get another storm on Monday, and then another one a couple days behind that. We're not the only ones in that boat, though. Off to the west, you're going to hear stories about California getting absolutely pummeled, snow all the way down to SoCal down there as well. Got to be at ECMC 10:30 tomorrow from Lockport. What do you think? I think you're doing pretty good. Deborah, if you get out of Lockport and get onto transit or a road that was salted and plowed, you will be A-OK. This is not an impassable situation tomorrow. Barring any branches that may be in your way. That's all you got to do. Stay off the roads tonight. No reason to go out there in the middle of this. Let it finish up, and then let them clean it up, and then you'll be okay. Friday morning, it's going to be in the teens, and it's going to be cold and windy, and you're likely to have some snow there as well. Whew. Man, Joel says, hey, I remember that storm. It was on my birthday. So he remembers there was snow on my birthday in May. I remember that. Will March come in like a lion? That's a great question. When is March 1st? Yeah, it's not going to come in politely. It's not going to come in with 70s and 80s. 100%. What do we have here? Let's take a look at this one.
This is from Mary Ellen Kenmore.
In Kenmore. That is, yeah, I mean, they'll come by. They'll scrape that street. It's still going to be, it'll have slick spots, but if they scrape it and push all that sleet out and then throw salt on top of it, that should do the trick. But man, look at that. Yikes. Here's one. This was the one. Yes, it was in 1990 or 1991. The power lines were encased in ice. I remember that one. That's the one I was referring to that just destroyed Niagara, Orleans, and portions of Monroe County. South Buffalo, West Seneca by morning should be in the, let's bring this back in. And there's the trend, as you can see, kind of lifting, not out of the woods yet, but the steadiest stuff is moving further to the north. We all need a beach about right now. Snow Beach is about the only thing we can. How are the roads from South Buffalo to Orchard Park? Essential state worker. If you're talking about tonight, not good. Mainly untouched and maybe pre-treated. But what I saw out there in the secondaries, I don't know. I can't speak to the majors, but there was just a accident reported on the 90. So things are not great. I think you have to get off of the secondaries onto the majors and see what happens there. She said, I saw Toto fly by. Why can't we have these windy days in the summer when it's hot and humid? I don't like it when it's hot and humid either. There's never a good day for this kind of wind. Any travel bans possible? I think the thing that would spark a travel ban is that if they were unable to get the roads into a manageable, drivable situation. A lot of times it's visibility that closes the thruway, and by tomorrow morning, the visibility won't be an issue. It'll be maybe debris could close a section of a local road, but I don't find that ice at this point hasn't reached a magnitude that it's going to be where you can't get it out, where you can't get rid of it and you can't get it back to usable by the commute tomorrow. Not a fan to win. No, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I don't find a lot of things that's a light breeze. A light breeze in the summer where you're sitting on the porch, 100%. But man, you get some of those lake breezes that kick up and they go 20 miles an hour, gusting to 30, and you're just like, all you're trying to do is, you've got a cup outside, your plate's trying to fly by in the summertime, your napkins are going sideways, you got to weight everything down. No, that's not that cool. Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that a lot. David does as well. And he's digging up all the good stuff behind the scenes. Anybody seen this yet? I don't know. We've got a lot of people in here that just popped in. This is what the rain gauge looked like. That's normally where you collect water, but today it collected all of the ice pellets, the sleet, and then you can see that the anemometer cups have some sleet in it, but then they're also, the freezing rain has kind of stuck to the plastic as well. It still spins around, but it's definitely little heavy weighted. This was these are the snow totals that we are working on. You've got a 1/4 inch of ice that happened in Wellsville earlier today. Wellsville is done. Jamestown, these are numbers that were all earlier today, and we're going to get some new numbers in as well. What we're looking at in the north towns, the effects of this storm for as far as the ice goes, we're way past 100th. We're going to be, we're approaching 2/10 of an inch, and it's the freezing rain that has the biggest impact on the branches beginning to bend, then the potential for those to break, and then you have some power outages. When we look at the south towns, we've been in here somewhere between that icy glaze and then the tree branches bending. We've had reports where we're anywhere from about 700ths to maybe 1500ths, so a little more than 1/10 in there as well. Is there it's not a no possibility, but I think it's a long shot. If your visibility isn't bad and they're going to be able to maintain the roads and they'll have enough time to do it prior to the morning commute, I think there's going to be enough time to get it done. It would have to be a pretty special circumstance, and I don't think it's going to be blanket for an entire community because we are now running the clock out on this, watching this Doppler and seeing that the number of communities and where it is affected is becoming less and less to the south, and it's becoming more rain. So if there is going to be an issue, it's going to be right in here as this freezing rain gets further north into the Tonawondas, Akron, Clarence, Harris Hill. If it starts to stick to the branches and you get these big wind gusts that are coming through at 30 miles an hour, that's where you're going to, if you have widespread power outages, you've got power lines down. If it's unsafe to go outside and travel, that's what's going to prompt a travel ban, but we're not there yet. I don't even know that there was enough power outages even present in the north towns, if any, reported at this stage. So it's hard to imagine that happening at this stage as well. Nobody wants the power outages. Those are the terrible ones. Paula says it sounds like rain for a few minutes, then it stops in East Aurora. So isn't that interesting? That the DOT did a lot of pre-salting in Hamburg. Well, they haven't had to use a lot of salt. They've had some pretty easygoing weather for a while, and so now they've go ahead and use it. Right, you got the big salt pile. Let's take a closer look at the city where that switchover is. So it's still likely sleet in the Tonawondas, up in the Lockport as well. There's some very steady stuff coming down right in here. St. Catharines. If anybody's on the Canadian side, give us go ahead and give us a shout. Let us know what you've got on that side of the border, because I think you've got it's the same situation, and then it runs, all the way out to the other side of Rochester, Batavia, Holly, Albion. So you've got all of these areas that are absolutely in the same boat, and these folks here are just getting into the steadier, the freezing rain. Hey, Guy, he must be back in from plowing a little bit. A very little icing in Amherst, very light freezing rain falling here now. So thank you very much. So he's watching right up in here in that Amherst area, and you can almost see that there's a little. That's from the Weather Service, so that's a natural gap, but there are some gaps in here where the colors just aren't as deep. So it is a little lighter. Thank you, Guy. Appreciate that. It's always great to get the ground truth from you guys, from the plow guys, and they know what they're talking about. Barb, when is it ending? The rule of thumb has been about 3 in the morning for a lot of the steady stuff. So it's got some time to go. Here's one that says, Arnie says, I wish they would use sand instead of salt. Salt is horrible for the environment. It's not great for the cement either. I switched over and did that. Ari, it is not Arnie. Ari. I switched over and used some of that sand on my front walkway when we had a number of those days. We had the freeze and the thaw, and you don't. It really worked pretty well on the roads. There's a lot of arguments could be made because sand doesn't melt the ice. It's not great for the cars either. Yeah, you could have this debate and not find a winner on this one. But the worst thing is just the dealing with the ice itself. All right, here we go. We've got Hernandez coming back again. I said you could ask more than one question. No worries about it whatsoever. Is there any possibility this might change? Nope, we're pretty much locked into this solution right now. The changes that are going to be coming our way are the fact that we are going to see varying amounts of precip now. So the precip will change. The snow getting pushed further north. You're getting pockets of sleet and freezing rain. And that's the new change that's there. Hey, we just got probably about 40 people just walked in the door. Those 40 people, welcome. Great to have you along. You go ahead and put comments in. We can see them right away. And if you could just hit that like button, and if you could share it too, that's even better. If you subscribe or if you like the page, next time we do this, you'll be pinged with a very polite tone that we're firing this up. So if you could do that for us, that would be huge. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we'll get back to some of the questions in here. Do we anticipate a 1/4 of an inch in North Cheektowaga, just west of the airport? No problem, Mike. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. We don't have a number right now, so I don't know if anyone has icing currently and what the rate was in North Cheektowaga by the airport. And sorry about the unnecessary zooms here, but trying to get in there. There it is. So there's the airport right in there. Here's North Cheektowaga. So let's use that as the center point as we kind of bounce out of this. You're not going to rain for a while, and you're right in this. So you've got a few more hours of exactly what's happening right now. And if you're getting freezing rain right now out there, Mike, there's a pretty good shot you're going to get to that 0.25. I don't know what's already stuck to your windows and stuff, but Amy, everybody's asking this. It looks like it's going to be around 3 in the morning for a lot of the steady stuff, and then it kind of breaks up. How is Lockport? I'd love to know. I'm standing in the South Towns, but if someone's in Lockport, tell me, because right now it looks like it's switched. As we started this, there was a lot more snow in the North Towns. Lockport went through a little bit of a lull. Now it looks like it's back into it, and it's going. All right, we've got Guy. Let's go. He's got us at Maple and Millersport, which is going to be kind of right in here. There's the 990, 263. So he's in that area over there, and he's got. He says it's rain and harder sleet. Now, I can tell you, Guy, if it's rain, it's not a friendly rain. You're not to the point where it's just regular rain. That means that you're now starting to get the pinging of the sleet, and you're also getting the freezing rain. So that rain, while it may not be showing it when it hits your windshield because it's warmer, but if you have cars that are parked, you're going to start getting that in that area right there. Yeah, ashes from the fireplace on the sidewalk. It's a dirty job, but sometimes that works. And then unfortunately, you track all that back into the house as well. Let me take one more sip of water. Dave, you have anything to add? We looking at anything that you want to talk about that you've seen out there? Is that tree again? I'm going to pop it up. There's that tree.
Yeah, this is Doris in Orchard Park, just right outside the Tops.
The Tops in OP. Oh, by Five Corners? Yeah, zero in on that tree. Let's see if we can see how much you see it. It looks frosted.
Yeah, it's as far as I can zoom.
Yeah. So it's hard to tell what it is, but the smaller branches, it doesn't look that bad, honestly. The little branches are the ones glistening in the light, but when you get a good icing event, the tree trunk is completely encased as well. Water port, let's see, Gene says water port is fairly clear. Let's go ahead and take a look. Water port in there. It's not so bad. You're get right in here. There you go. You're getting some breaks. See that gap right in here, but don't be lulled into a false sense of security by that, because this band of heavier precip is still being fed by things to the west of you, and you're not done yet. And there's another right here. As this comes in, you're going to see that'll really feed it for a few more hours. Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate it. Hopefully nobody loses power. Lindenville. Thank you, Lindenville. I love it. Someone comes in with a snow total for us here. It's been a while, but we were just talking about that. So Lindenville is in the house right there, up with Barker. Barker came in and said, we've got 4. Lindenville says, hold on, we've got about 3, but I don't think they're going to argue with each other. But both of them right now maybe catching just a little bit of a break as we see that gap in the precip. But thank you very much, Stacy. We appreciate that. Yeah, that is a beautiful tree. You know, I just did that whole thing and you guys weren't looking at it because I didn't put Doppler on the screen. So here it is, Barker and in Lindenville. Barker had 4. Lindenville says 3. They're both in that little gap right now, but then there's more coming on the way as well. Will the freezing rain that just hit Wheatfield stay stationary till 3 a.m.? So yeah, Wheatfield, there we go. You can see it right in here. And whoa, there's Lewiston. And you're going to be right in that spot in there. And North Tonawanda, Niagara Falls, Wheatfield. Can we get Wheatfield to pop on? How do we not have Wheatfield on this map? Wait for it. Wait for it. Nope, it's not coming. But that's where it is. It's right in there. And yes, it is going to keep coming. If you're into freezing rain in Wheatfield now, you'll teeter between that and the sleet for a while. I tried to get in his car and he can't. The door is frozen. What do you do to get in? Boy, that's a tricky one. There's some ice unlock that you could spray in there. I don't think it's wise to pour the hot water on it. With the electronics and all of this, dumping boiling hot water, it's not advised. I think if you can remote start it, that's your best option. Otherwise, Edwin, I'm not sure on that one. I know that I don't think it's to pour the boiling hot water on it. That's not a good one. Someone said vinegar earlier, but then again, do you really want to be dumping all that on there? Will it be back to normal Friday morning? Yes, it will. Friday morning, but it'll be cold, and I mean cold. It's going to be dropping down into the teens. Mary says, wow. Carol says, Cheektowaga, ? Carol, in Cheektowaga, we're going to dive into that and show you what's going on there. We were talking about Cheektowaga before. We were just talking about the north end of Cheektowaga by the airport, and that's where we're starting to see the freezing rain come in. If you go to the south end of Cheektowaga is a huge section. It kind of straddles the south end is kind of a South Towns feel, and then you get up to the north end of Cheektowaga and it's kind of got more of a North Town feel. So it's kind of straddles that moniker, but it's right now getting the same thing as the city of Buffalo with the freezing rain. So whatever you have out your window right now, you're going to get for a while, Carol. That's what you've got there. What do we have here? Jennifer says Lancaster along Walden Avenue. They're riding that orange-pink line and keeps switching between freezing rain and sleet. Now, it does. So my question to you, Lancaster, if that's your area, if anybody's in that area, are you hearing the pinging in that area, or are we just kind of one or the other? Sometimes the radar will flop back and forth, but the reality is a little bit different underneath there. They have a new skating rink in Lovejoy. There you go. Town of Tonawanda is, how's it looking for tomorrow? It's looking chilly, and you're going to have a lot of sleet in your front yard, a lot of ice, a lot of hardened sleet and freezing rain. Will flights be canceled at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning? Yeah, I would think that you're going to have a tough time. They're not coming in. It depends on where your flight originates. If the flight is already here, obviously they're going to have to de-ice it, and that's going to incur time and effort. But it'll be in it. I wouldn't want to have a 4 o'clock flight tomorrow. So that one you're going to want to keep an eye on and see what happened. Is the airport open? As far as I know, the airport was open. I did not hear anything that it closed. I know that where there's some delays and some cancellations, and that's what we've got there. You bet, Carol, anytime, stop by. We're happy to answer the questions. I'm assuming the lake is not frozen. The lake is anything but frozen. As a matter of fact, we're going to get some lake effect on Friday, but it's going to be on a fetch that comes on more of a northwesterly fetch. So it's going to target areas of Chautauqua County more so than anything else. Look at this rain kind of running into here. You're getting so much all colliding into one weather system, and pieces and streams and and waves of moisture all in there. South Lancaster, hearing the pinging on the windows. So let's look at where this rain snow line is. As it creeps up closer and closer, trying to get into Hamburg. It's almost at the 62-75 split, and that's where it's been. It's definitely a more solid rain situation there. And Lancaster said they were hearing the pinging, and that would make sense if you're going up transit, and you're right in there. So yeah, you're right on the dividing line in there. Oakfield, Alabama. Let's go north a little bit further and then jog over and see if
Sorry
we can
about
bring
that.
you guys in. There it is. Out in Batavia. We still haven't heard from Batavia. How we haven't heard Batavia in the house yet. So, but that's what you've got out in Oakfield, Alabama. So you're getting that sleet and possible freezing rain there as well. Okay, here it is. This is good. So if you've got a hair dryer, that may be the thing that could get it done. That would be an interesting tool for that. How will Hamburg be at 4 in the morning? And Hamburg to Attica. Let's go ahead and put that on the screen for everybody. There's Hamburg, there's Attica, both of which would not be a fun ride right now whatsoever. 4 a.m., I think you're still going to have the residual effects of the icing on the untreated road. So I don't know what your route is to get over there if you're taking 20A and then bending up, but you're going to run into some roads that may be less traveled, and those will be the ones. Just approach it as some slick stuff here. It says Tonawanda sleet out there. So that's where we're at again. What is orange? People say, what is orange? It's a creamsicle. No, that's the sleet. And it's now kind of melding as the atmosphere above the cold layer changes. It's going to change the type of precipitation. The radar is having a tougher time distinguishing exactly what's falling. And honestly, it may be changing above your head as we speak. So Guy was just saying it was liquid in this area right here. I mean, he's out there now, and he's giving us the reports right here. And it went from liquid to sleet, and then now it's back over to sleet there again. The upcoming storms, what are they going to be? They will end up being quick moving. They're not slow moving. They're not going to last for days and days and camp out, but they are going to be dragging warm air up, and then you're going to have this battle between what is going to be the warm, the wet, and then the white. But none of them look to be heavy hitters right now. But again, we got to get this one out of the way before we can even really make a decent analysis out of that as well.
I do have an update on the Buffalo Airport. There's about 15 cancellations for tomorrow morning. Cancellations, and then the earliest scheduled flights after that. There's about 15. We'll just stick with 15 cancellations at the Buffalo Airport.
Sounds good.
If you have to go out there, good idea just to check your phone and see if your flight's on time or canceled.
Yep. More people hearing the pinging outside in Williamsville. That seems to be the proper thing, popular thing. Jim has got the sleet out there as well. De-icing fluid. So we got another solution here. Pour it on the door. That should help you get into your car. That may work as well, especially if you're bringing it. If it's not in your car, it's in the garage, a little warmer. How will Akron to North Amherst be at 6:30 in the morning? Akron to North Amherst, I would say not great. I would say that's still you're only gonna be about 3 hours away from when this thing kind of wraps up. So I think you're gonna bump into some getting out of the driveway, getting onto the majors. Anything that's well traveled, well salted is good. Anything that isn't could still be problematic. Front window, Angela says the front window is a thick sheet of ice and he can't see across the street in Williamsville. This is what we're hearing in Williamsville now, is that it's switching between sleet and freezing rain, and it can't make up its mind. And that's the reason that Williamsville, sorry, I'm going to take off the here we go. Williamsville is kind of right in there on this number. So you've got the thruway just south of the thruway, Cheektowaga, Depew. You go north and you're up to 0.3. It's going to be a solid shot of freezing rain. Watching this radar continuing to spit, to use a graphic term here, but spit, more winter moisture in that area. And it's look at this. It's just coming. You got another one. It's going to rain again. Even though it's not going to be icy in the southern tier, they're going to get hit with another round of rain. Spencerport in Rochester. So we'll help our folks out. We don't have any boundaries. Radar is over there. So you're looking right around there to Spencerport, and there it is. You can bring it right into here. You're going to be on the edge of all of this as well. So you'll hear pinging, and you'll eventually get some freezing rain, but you've got it all in there as well. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it. I've run out of water, so we're probably not going to go too much longer here, because that may be all she wrote. When it comes to the voice, you got to have the voice to do all this. Same here in Cheektowaga. The front window is just ice. WD-40 and cooking spray. If nothing else, today you've learned about 6 different ways to break into your frozen door on your car. Weather on Friday is going to be darn cold, Veronica. It is going to be teens, feeling more like single digits when you factor in the wind. This always happens. I say we're going to wrap it up, and then people that have been holding out and asking a question just start flooding it in. So do them now. Everybody, let's get this up over 400 likes. Everybody who's in here, just one last time, throw that like. We've got a whole bunch of different emojis in there. After the show, we'll see which one was the winner on there. But let's throw that in and hit the share button on here. That's awesome too, if you can do it. There goes the number flying up. It's always great to do that. It helps us out. And it allows Facebook to kind of send us out and help us get to more people and bring this information to everybody that needs it. When is this going to finally move out? After 3 o'clock in the morning, we'll see some improvement. And there it is. Whoever was number 400, thank you very much. Let me pop back up real quick and just say, hey, on behalf of David and myself, we're in here and we're doing what we can to keep everybody informed and safe and one step ahead of the weather forecast in Western New York. And we thank you for joining us tonight. It's our pleasure to bring you as much information as we can about the ice storm. We'll see what Mother Nature sends Western New York next time, and you can be sure that we'll be right here on your phone or on your screen, wherever you want it, how you want it, the weather in Western New York. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.